All right, hello everybody. Welcome to Heads Up, the show where we talk about news and things going on in the sports world. I am your host Quinn Brady, and yeah, let's get into it. For the first episode, we are going to be talking about all of the rumors and trades and you know break for the All Star Weekend in the NBA. So let's get right into it. The trade deadline just happened about a week ago, and honestly, it was a pretty good weekend for the trades. Let's start from the top. I think a really good one to start off with would be the Memphis Grizzlies and Toronto Raptors trade. Now, the Memphis Grizzlies did trade away Marcus Gasol, which, I don't know if that was the greatest option for the Grizzlies. But Toronto Raptors grabbed Marcus Gasol and they give away Jonas Valanciunas, DeLon Wright, and C.J. Miles. Now Marcus Gasol, he had 11 fourth quarter points on 5 of 5 shooting just a couple days ago to win actually, and so he has been producing quite well for the Raptors. Now Jonas Valanciunas, I feel like he's been a little bit quiet, and DeLon Wright and C.J. Miles, they're kind of role players no matter pretty much what team they go to. Next up, we got Nikola Mirotic to the Pelicans in a 3-player deal. The Bucks get Nikola Mirotic, and he is a pretty good spot-up shooter. He, can hit it off the dribble. He's, not bad. And the Pelicans get Jason Smith, Stanley Johnson, and Denver's 2019 second-round pick. Pistons get Thon Maker, who is a pretty tall guy, pretty lanky. He can stretch the floor, he can run the floor, and do a lot of others. Honestly, not the greatest trade in my books. Wasn't really that important. Was the Michael Beasley and Ivica Zubac for Mike Muscala. All three of those players are not that great. But let's move on anyway to 76ers and Magic trade. Markelle Fultz actually a first round pick, number 1, in fact. Who hasn't seen much playing time, but gets traded to the 76ers. All right, anyway, let's move on to the 76ers and Magic trade. So Markelle Fultz, actually a number 1 pick in the 2016 NBA draft, hasn't seen much playing time on the court yet. He's been hurt, and his shot has been a little rough. But he goes to Orlando Magic, and the Orlando Magic, in return, give the 76ers Jonathan Simmons and a first-round pick and a second-round pick. Now, I actually kind of like this trade. It's pretty fair for either side. Jonathan Simmons has honestly been performing pretty well in the few games that he's been doing. He's a player in which he's put in to give, the starters some rest, even the secondary guys some rest. He's put up, 5+ points a game and almost 2 assists a game, which, for a player of his caliber is not that bad in the NBA. First round pick, which should be good. It's from OKC, though, so it may be a later round first round pick, but even still, that's fine. Markelle Fultz, hopefully we see some good playing out of him. I am really hoping that he does something special with his career. Then we go down to the Grizzlies and LA Clippers trade. This one was actually quite interesting, and I definitely think the Memphis Grizzlies got the benefit of this trade. Now, the Clippers get JaMychal Green and Garrett Temple, who both pretty much play like the same position. They're both bigger guards to small forwards. And the Grizzlies actually get Avery Bradley from the Clippers. And, wow, Avery Bradley has been going off. He had 33 points the other night and led the Memphis Grizzlies to, they lost by 1, in fact, but he had 33 points, and I think he had a double-double that game. But, JaMychal Green, Garrett Temple, I don't think either of them are as good, even put together, as Avery Bradley could be. Next up, we have Wizards and Pelicans. This is kind of a pick where you don't really talk about much. It's Wesley Johnson to the Wizards and Markieff Morris to the Pelicans. This one is pretty interesting too. Kings get Harrison Barnes, and the Mavericks get Zach Randolph and Justin Jackson. Zach Randolph, he has been a part of the program for many years. He was pretty good, but then kind of fell off a little bit. And Justin Jackson, he's a newer guy. I do like him. He's been doing mediocre for his young age. But then Harrison Barnes, he was on the Warriors, did pretty well. Went to the Mavericks, was pretty good in my opinion, and ended up going to the Pelicans, right? He ended up going to the Sacramento Kings. My bad. I do like this trade too. Wizards, they get Jabari Parker and Bobby Portis from the Bulls, and the Chicago Bulls end up getting Otto Porter Jr. And I actually really do like Otto Porter Jr. He's been a pretty good guy his whole career. He's been a little bit slept on early on. He's finally getting the recognition I think he deserves, even a little bit less. This one is probably one of the biggest and probably best trades, maybe second best of the whole ordeal, is the Clippers and 76ers trade once again. This one has a lot of players, as 6 players, 4 picks, 2 first rounds, 2 second rounds. Let's go through it. The LA Clippers get from the Sixers, they get Landry Shamet, Wilson Chandler, Mike Muscala, a 2020 first-round pick, a 2021 first-round pick, a 2021 second-round pick, and a 2023 second-round pick. Okay, that's a lot. That's 3 players, 4 picks. That's quite a bit of damage to the 76ers franchise. But in return, they get Tobias Harris, Boban Marjanovic, and Mike Scott. Yeah, Tobias Harris going off. I love Tobias Harris. I didn't honestly think he was that great. But after seeing him play a while and after, he going to his new team, I am in love. He is doing really well. Boban, he's 7'4". How could you not like Boban? He makes the ball look like a tennis ball to him. And then Mike Scott, he's been bouncing around teams, and he's not doing bad either. Now we're going down to the Knicks and Dallas trade. Now, honestly, I don't know if this trade is going to be the most impactful. And when I say impactful, it may look good on paper, right? But it may not, work out the best in the end, okay? So I think the Clippers and 76ers ordeal, that's going to be the most impactful for the 76ers of all of the trades that happened. Memphis Grizzlies getting Avery Bradley, pretty good. Bulls getting Otto Porter, pretty good. Pretty impactful. But the 76ers are going to get the most impact from their players out of the draft. Now, the second team I would think would be, the New York Knicks or Dallas Mavericks, 2 and 3. So the Dallas Mavericks are actually going to get Kristaps Porzingis, who's been out the whole season. We haven't seen him play. Courtney Lee, who has been, a role-playing guard. Tim Hardaway Jr., an older guy, been with the Knicks forever. Trey Burke, he's Trey Burke. Nothing special. But the New York Knicks get Dennis Smith Jr., who lit up his rookie year. An amazing, energy to the team. DeAndre Jordan, who is getting better at free throws, for one. That's really good to start off with. Is a monster inside in the rebounds and dunking game. Can get some blocks and all that for your team. Not bad. Wesley Matthews, he is a great shooter. He's a spot-up shooter. Okay? And then the Knicks also get 2 first-round picks. I think the Knicks won this deal. Kristaps Porzingis, he was an all-star. I think he's pretty good. But I think the Knicks overall win this ordeal. So, there we have it for all the trades. Not all of them, but, the most meaningful ones, the most talked about ones. But in my book, who won the trade deadline? Um, there was a lot of talk about the Lakers getting Anthony Davis, all of that. Even the Bucks getting Anthony Davis. Um, that would have been great for Anthony Davis to go to the Lakers or even the Bucks, let's say. But he didn't. He stayed in Pelicans. Um, nothing really happened there. So I think the best team to win the trade deadline would be the 76ers. It's plain and simple for me. It's plain and simple for the rest of the league, honestly. Second would be probably Knicks or Memphis Grizzlies. Okay? But overall, the 76ers with Tobias Harris and the numbers he's been putting up, and Boban coming off the bench, if you have a guy with Boban's caliber coming off the bench, having Joel Embiid starting and Boban off the bench, that is, the sign of a really good team. I think that the 76ers will make the Eastern Conference Finals, and I'm not sure who they'll play then, so I can't make any predictions on if they'll make it to the finals, but as of right now, I think they'll make the Eastern Conference Finals. All right, next up, we are going to be talking about the NBA All-Star Game and, the NBA All-Star Weekend in general. So start off, we have the Rising Stars Challenge, which, honestly gets overlooked a little bit, World versus USA with the, younger guys. But I think it's pretty amusing. Not amusing, but, entertaining. Seeing the young guys go to work without all of the veterans and all of the all-stars in. Then we have the dunk contest, which honestly this past year and past 2 years it's been pretty good. I'm pretty happy with who has been in it. Dennis Smith Jr. was in it last year. All these guys that have some incredible athleticism were in it. And then the NBA All-Star three-point contest actually is going to be interesting. Dirk Nowitzki is going to be in it. Steph Curry, as always, he's, a clear choice. He's definitely really good. But another interesting one was Seth Curry, Stephen Curry's brother. And you may not even have known that he has had a brother in the league, but his brother plays for the, what is it now? Dallas Mavericks, Portland Trailblazers, something like that. He honestly is a pretty good three-point shooter. Obviously overlooked, isn't starting. But I don't know if he can beat Curry. I don't know. Stephen Curry, that is. I don't know if Seth can beat Stephen Curry. That would be a pretty fun, interesting matchup for, either guy. Just being brothers able to compete in the same league, being brothers able to compete in the All-Star weekend against each other, that's pretty, fun, and that's pretty neat. All right, the NBA All-Star Game is actually held in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is, the hometown of Michael Jordan. There's a lot of talk of Michael Jordan being there and, all that jazz. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into the 2019 All-Stars. This year was interesting. They did a draft. They had a bunch of, they voted on who do you want to be an All-Star, starters and reserves and all that. So they got all the players in a list, and there were two teams. One was Team LeBron. The two highest drafted or voted or whatever player would be the captains, and it would be Team LeBron and Team Giannis. Now, LeBron James, he has been an all-star countless times in his career. But Giannis Antetokounmpo has been on the all-star game, less times than I can count on my finger. My hand, I meant. So, we'll see how this goes. Giannis is definitely a rising star. He is the definition of a star that is rising. But anyway, Team LeBron, he had the first pick in the draft. Team Giannis had second, third, fourth, fifth, blah, blah, so on. Team LeBron, with the first overall pick, got Kevin Durant. I think this is a really good pick, just because Kevin Durant, I think, is one of the best, lethal guys in the NBA. Now, All-Star game, no defense being played. It's really just a joke. Everyone knows that. But so yeah, Kevin Durant goes first. One of the most lethal guys, one of the best players in the league. I understand. Team Giannis. Giannis selects Curry as the number 2 pick. Yeah, I think that's interesting. I don't know if I completely agree with his choice. I don't disagree. I have some ups and downs. But to see 2 players from the Warriors go first and second in the All-Star draft, I think that says something a lot about the Warriors in general. Anyway, let's get into the rest of the starters for Team LeBron. So you have LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, Kyrie Irving, which will be very interesting to see Kyrie and LeBron go to work as they used to, and James Harden. So a pretty dang good starting 5 for them. I do like that starting 5. Now, the other side is Team Giannis. You have Giannis Antetokounmpo, Steph Curry, Joel Embiid, Paul George, and Kemba Walker. Now, this starting 5 is a little bit overlooked on, because Paul George, he can make a pretty damn good rush for the MVP candidate, because he has been doing so well in the last weeks. But I don't know if their team is, as good as Team LeBron. Even if you look at the reserves, you have people for Team LeBron. You have people like LaMarcus Aldridge, Bradley Beal, who went off, Anthony Davis, Damian Lillard, Ben Simmons, Klay Thompson, Karl Anthony Towns, Dwayne Wade. Whereas Giannis, you have Russell Westbrook, you have Chris Middleton. I mean, they're good. Jokic, he's good. I just don't know if they can compete with Team LeBron. But yeah, we'll see where that goes. It is on February 15th, if I am correct. All-Star game is on February 15th. But actually, yeah, the NBA All-Star game, I'm sorry. NBA All-Star game is on February 17th, which is a Sunday. The three-point contest and slam dunk contest are both on Saturday the 16th, and the skills challenge is on the 16th. Okay, the celebrity game is on the 15th. That'll be fun. Definitely tune in for that. Rising Stars is on the 15th as well after the celebrity game. All-Star Saturday night is 16th, of course. But yeah, let me know who you guys think got the better way of this end of the stick for the trades. Who do you think was the best team coming out of the trade deadline? Tell me, who do you think the best All-Star team is? Who do you think is going to win each event? But yeah, I think that's pretty much wraps up the whole podcast for right now. Just let me know, who do you think has a better chance of making it to the playoffs after the trade deadline? I think that is going to be our next episode, is the main question of who's going to have the better chance of making a big run for the playoffs after the trade deadline. Will it be the Sixers? Will it be the Knicks? The Knicks have lost 17 in a row, but will they come back and possibly make the playoffs? I don't know. We'll see. Thanks for tuning in. It is Quinn. Thank you for listening to Heads Up. And, I'll catch you in the next episode. See ya.